after Samantha Markle has filed a defamation lawsuit against her.
Meghan Markle throws a tantrum after her sister sued her. And trust me, this meltdown is already wilder than anyone expected.
My half-sister, who I hadn't seen for over a decade, and that was only for a day and a half, suddenly it felt like she was everywhere.
I don't know your middle name.
The moment Samantha Markle dragged Meghan into court, things went from messy to explosive. But nobody predicted what happened next. Inside the courtroom, the tension was so thick you could probably slice it with a butter knife. And then, boom, Chief Judge William Pryor dropped a legal bomb that completely shook Meghan's side. He didn't just disagree with her lawyers, he practically scolded them. Loud enough that even people sitting in the back stopped breathing for a second. Samantha's legal team, they were smiling like they already knew they'd won something huge.
In her life. And do you remember when she was born?
Oh yeah. It was really kind of exciting because I was going to have a little sister, but at that time I didn't realize, gee, there's such a huge age disparity.
So what went so wrong for Meghan's team? Did the judge catch something they tried to slip past? And is this the moment their family drama goes from private feud to full-blown legal disaster? Let's find out.
You're telling these people that you raised me and you've coined me Princess Pushy?
It all began when the news hit that Samantha Grant Markle sued Meghan, and a big court hearing turned into a wild TV moment nobody saw coming. People thought this was going to be another quiet legal tiff you'd read about for a day and forget. Instead, it blew up into a scene straight out of a drama. The judge who heard the case didn't just push back on Meghan's lawyers, he did something much louder. He tore into their arguments in front of everyone. That moment messed up the plan Team Meghan had been running for years, and it set off a chain of events that left royal watchers, gossip fans, and even some surprise critics talking for days. From the start, Samantha Grant Markle's move to sue felt like a risky bet. Family fights that go public tend to be messy and painful, but Samantha's lawyers came to court ready to fight, and they looked calm and sharp. Meghan's team, on the other hand, seemed off balance from the first question. The judge kept interrupting, pressing, and pointing out holes. When he said the lawyers' arguments were beside the point, that sounded small on paper, but it hit like a punch. It meant the court was not buying the story Meghan's side had planned to tell. In the seats, you could feel people leaning forward. Online, people were already posting clips and reactions. Someone in the courtroom even said it felt like a public dressing down, and that's not a phrase you want attached to your legal team.
Samantha is suing Meghan for defamation based on demonstrably false and malicious statements made to a worldwide audience.
What made it so tasty for the rest of the world was the drama of it all. Meghan has crafted an image over the years. Strong, smart, always ready to stand up for herself. She built a team of lawyers who usually seem unshakable. So watching them stumble in front of a judge was like seeing the curtain fall on a stage trick. For fans, it was surprising. For haters, it felt like justice finally knocking. For neutral folks, it was straight up entertainment, drama, tension, and a plot twist. And for Samantha Grant Markle's side, it was a win they hadn't even fully expected at the start. Let's not pretend this is just a legal issue. When famous people go to court, it becomes story time for everyone. The questions are simple and juicy. Did Meghan's lawyers miss something? Did Samantha's team find a weak link and squeeze it? Will this change what Meghan can say or do in public? The judge made the hearing about more than dry law talk. He made it about whether the legal moves were honest and coherent. That's dangerous for any public figure because once doubt creeps in, people can't help but replay things they heard before in a new light.
Samantha specifically calls out Meghan and her hubby Prince Harry's 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey and alleges that Meghan published and disseminated false and malicious statements about her.
Samantha's lawyer, the one who's now getting pats on the back across newsrooms, did not come unprepared. He framed his points in a way that made the judge pause and think instead of getting lost in a sea of legal words, he kept pulling everything back to one idea. The other side wasn't answering the hard questions. That's a classic courtroom move, but pulled off at the right moment, it can feel devastating. The judge's scolding wasn't mean for shock value, it was surgical. He aimed where it hurt, at the strategy. The phrase that started making rounds after the hearing was smorgasbord defense. It sounded funny, but the meaning was simple. Meghan's lawyers had thrown a lot of stuff at the wall and hoped something would stick. That looks messy when you're used to clean plans and polished statements.
Small little house in Woodland Hills, California. Little cul-de-sac street, nice neighbors. So when the media suggested that she was this Cinderella that just rose up out of rubbish or out of nowhere, no, that is rubbish.
There was also a dark turn in the papers. Samantha's team brought up threats she says she got after Meghan's big public moments that added everyone's least favorite spice to the story: fear. If true, it moves the whole case from petty family squabble to something more worrying. It's not fun to read about threats, but those claims pushed the hearing into a different lane. The court wasn't just talking about who said what now. It had to consider whether words led to danger. That raises the stakes a lot. If a court starts to connect public statements to real harm, you're no longer in the playground of gossip. You're in a place where serious rules apply.
I hadn't had a fallout with her. We didn't have a closeness to be able to have that.
Inside Meghan's circle, sources say the panic button was hit fast. Calls went out, teams gathered. You can picture the scene. Lawyers pacing, PR people on phones, and a brand manager thinking about future deals. When you've spent years building a certain image and suddenly the world sees your legal team fumble, it forces an emergency meeting. In public life, image and results are linked. A courtroom loss or a public slapdown can ripple into deals, projects, and the trust people have in you. Nobody wants to be the person advertisers or producers whisper about as risky to hire. That pressure feels real and immediate. We can't skip the family side either. This whole mess has turned private family pain into a very public fight. The Markle family was already known to have tensions, but dragging it into the courtroom writes the tensions into official records forever. Every argument, every filing, every judge's note becomes a line in the story that people will use later. Family fights are sad when they stay private. They get worse when they are on the front page every single day. Samantha's decision to sue means she's ready to escalate, and that tells people something. This is not a talk and makeup moment. This is a formal move that says, I want the court to say who's right. That's heavy. For Meghan, the headache is double. First, the court scene itself. Second, the fallout that follows in the world of deals and shows. Think about it. Producers, streaming services, and brand partners all watch these moments. They ask themselves, do we want to be tied to someone who is now linked with courtroom chaos? Some might back off quietly. Some might wait. Others might ask for more legal terms before signing. That's boring business talk, but it matters. Hollywood runs on trust and prediction. If your partner's life feels like a box of surprises, companies get nervous. That's not the end of the world, but it changes the playing field.
It was like, I definitely got to play big sister, help teach her to walk, have fun with that.
Meanwhile, the public had a field day. Memes, hot takes, late-night jokes, everything you expect when a famous moment goes off the rails. People clip the judge's words, turn them into tweets, and debated at length. Some fans of Meghan defended her, saying the legal team just had a bad day. Some critics said this was proof she always plays the victim. The truth probably sits somewhere in the middle. But for a while, the story was the headline, "The internet is fast," and once it decides on a narrative, it can be hard to steer it back. This is the new reality for famous people. A single hit moment can become the brand story for months. Another twist is how this hearing shapes future cases. Legal teams study what happened and make plans. If Samantha's lawyers scored points in front of an appeals court, other lawyers will note the tactics and think about copying them. That means the impact of this hearing could reach beyond just the two sisters. It might give others the courage to bring their own claims, thinking, if these famous lawyers can be shown weak, so can others. In the legal world, a strong court showing can encourage copycats. And in the media world, copycats make more stories. It's a cycle.
Let's face it, we all have to survive. Money makes the world go round. So if you want to call that cashing in, that's fine. But I think...
Yet through all this the human part is easy to forget. At the center are real people with kids, feelings, and messy pasts. When the headlines scream and jokes fly, it can be easy to treat the story as pure entertainment. But being in the public eye while family rifts play out in court is painful. Whether you love Meghan or hate her, the fact that her sister took her to court says the family divide is deep. Courts don't fix relationships. They put law between people. Sometimes that is needed, and sometimes it makes things worse. Either way, the family is not going to be the same after this. That's the sad truth behind the drama. Let's not ignore the showbiz angle either. Meghan and Harry have tried to build a new life and a brand after stepping back from royal duty court drama like this doesn't help that effort. There's a delicate balance between staying relevant and getting dragged into controversies that make people tune out. Producers and brands want stories they can sell, but they also want partners who don't bring a pile of legal trouble. This court moment might slow some plans or shift them. Some deals may now come with more fine print. That's normal in business, but it's also a reminder. The public world and the private world are glued together for people of that level of fame. When one side cracks, the other feels the shock. At the same time, Samantha Markle has suddenly become the person who dared to test a celebrity in court and made it stick. For people who follow tabloid drama, that's tasty. For legal teams who work on similar fights, it's a case study. For strangers on social media, it's another drama to pick a side on. That kind of moment changes reputations. Not all change is bad. Sometimes people admire the courage of someone who stands up to a famous sibling. But it also means more heat for Samantha, because being in the spotlight comes with scrutiny. She'll be judged for her choices, her motives, and every move she makes next.